The Ogun State Government on Wednesday has again halted the selection process for the new Awujale of Ijebu land. This is just as our correspondent, who is currently at Ijebu Ode, also observed deployment of heavy security, including the police and the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, at the Awujale Palace. The Awujale stool became vacant in July 2025 after the demise of 91-year-old Oba Sikiru Adetona, who reigned for 65 years. The government, in a statement on Wednesday signed by the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Ganiyu Hamzat, and which had since gone viral, said that the selection process was halted due to the flood of petitions received from security agencies and other stakeholders. The statement partly reads, "I write in respect of the ongoing process for the selection of a new Awujale of ljebuland. As you are aware, the Awujale stool is a foremost stool in Yoruba land generally and in Ogun State particularly, where it is one of the paramount stools. Further, the stature of the immediate past Awujale, Oba Sikiru Adetona, who reigned for 65 years, significantly enhanced the modern esteem and prestige of the stool. These realities place a lot of focus, attention and scrutiny on the next Awujale and the process by which he emerges. In this regard, the state government has received several petitions, reports from security agencies and other key stakeholders in relation to the ongoing selection process. In order to maintain public order, protect the integrity of the process, and maintain the veneration of the stool, it has become imperative to halt the selection process for the stool at this time. In taking this decision, the government has had due regard to the provisions of the Obas and Chiefs Law of Ogun State, 2021, which empower it to set aside an appointment if the Executive Council is satisfied that it is in the interest of peace, order and good government to do so. Thus, given the reports at its disposal, the government has elected to act proactively without further delay in the interest of peace, order and good government by halting the process in its entirety. Therefore, the state government hereby directs that you convey this decision to the Awujale Kingmakers Council and the Fusengbuwa Ruling House immediately. The latter, particularly, should be advised to await further directives regarding the selection process. The Ogun State Government, around December 18, 2025, halted the selection process for the vacant stool of the Awujale, citing procedural errors. The vice chairman of the Fusengbuwa Ruling House, Professor Fassy Yusuf, had confirmed the development in a telephone interview with our correspondent. The exercise was reportedly suspended after the state government summoned representatives of the Fusengbuwa Ruling House and the Awujale Interregnum Administration Committee to a meeting. Professor Yusuf explained that the earlier process was cancelled due to identified procedural errors that could potentially open the floodgates to litigation over the installation of the new Awujale. Recall that 95 people, consisting of 94 princes and a princess from the Fusengbuwa Ruling House of Ijebu Ode, emerged on Monday as the contestants to the vacant stool of Awujale and paramount ruler of Ijebu land. The contestants emerged at the nomination meeting held by the ruling house at Bisrad Hall, GRA, Ijebu Ode, Ogun State. The nomination meeting was presided over by the chairman of the ruling house, Otunba Abdullatif Aoyemi, his deputy and vice, Prince Adedokan Ahidagba and Professor Fassy Yusuf, respectively, while the secretary to the Ijebu Ode local government, Abiodun Oke, and some other officials of the local government were around to serve as observers speaking with journalists at the end of the nomination meeting. The head of the Fusengbuwa family, Otunba Aoyemi, lauded family members for conducting themselves peacefully and for ensuring that nothing untoward occurred that could jeopardize the nomination process. Aoyemi said that, just as the Ifa oracle had foretold, the family is working across the board to ensure that the person who will assume the vacant stool of Awujale will further take Ijebu land to greater heights. The selection of the new Awujale, which has been generating quite a lot of interest for some time, with Ayinde, popularly called KWAM1, also declaring his interest in the throne. The Fusengbuwa family, which is the ruling house that produces the next Awujale, however, declared that the legendary Fuji musician was not a member of their family and therefore could not be included in the selection process. Ayinde had approached the State High Court sitting at Ijebu Ode seeking an interim injunction stopping Governor Dapo Abiodun and 6 others from going ahead with the selection process of the new Awujale. The court refused to grant the injunction, saying that the application brought by the Fuji musician lacked merit. Ayinde, through his lawyer, however, withdrew the suit, though no tangible reason was offered. However, in the recent letter dated January 8 and written to Abiodun by Dr. Wab Shita, San, lawyer to the musician, faulted the family decision to use a delegate system to select the candidates for the vacant stool of Awujale. Ayinde stated further that the directive fixed the nomination exercise for Monday, January 12, 2026, but also directed that the nomination exercise will be done by delegates to be selected at a meeting scheduled for the 10th of January 2026. Ayinde said that the use of the delegate system was clear that there are plans by the leadership of the ruling house to disenfranchise members of the ruling house desirous of participating in the nomination exercise of candidates to fill the vacant Awujale's stool. He said that this was inconsistent with the spirit and letter of the Chieftaincy Declaration and the Obas and Chiefs Law of Ogun State 2021, and therefore called on Gov Abiodun to halt this move in the spirit of justice and fairness. Ayinde, in another letter dated January 14, 2026, KWAM1, through his lawyer, Dr. Shita, also urged Gov Abiodun to declare the Monday, January 12, 2026, Fusengbuwa Ruling House nomination meeting for the new Awujale as null and void because it failed to abide by the State Obas and Chiefs Law 2021. Ayinde particularly faulted what he called imposition of a delegate system and the physical exclusion of some members by a faction within the ruling house from being part of this nomination meeting. He had threatened that these identified procedural errors might lead to protracted litigation if the government did not heed his concerns.